So Brian Ortega surprisingly beats Rodriguez through a submission through arm triangle choke. And to be honest, it's really surprising. I did not expect Brian Ortega to beat Yair in the second fight. Because we've seen what happened in the first fight. Even Yair got Brian Ortega in an armbar, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. He got him in an armbar, and that was surprising to see because Brian Ortega's a black belt. You know, he's like... the ground game is his thing, you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist, bro. I expected Brian Ortega to lose fairly convincingly through like 3 or 5 rounds unanimously. And he came back and he actually fought. He showed that he improved his wrestling game. He actually improved his ground game too. And in that choke, it was like a Ezekiel, you know, arm triangle, like a hybrid. It was crazy how he pulled it off. I'm actually surprised. But now, Brian Ortega, through this win, he's calling for a title shot. I'm not sure if that's like the right path to go to because in about 4 years, he's competed twice. I mean, in 3-4 years, one against Yair, and I mean 2 against Yair and 1 against Alexander Volkanovski, and in all of those fights he's taken pretty much not the best damage, you know. He's taken quite a bit of damage in both fights, so like I don't think it's right for him to be calling for a title shot. And he did win against Yair, which is a fair point, but again, I would say fight someone else before you actually fight for the title because Ilia Topuria is no joke. Like you want to make sure that you're ready to fight Ilia, you know. Ilia of all people would give Brian Ortega the business. I'm not saying Ortega will lose because he can win if he exploits Ilia Topuria's ground game, and Ilia is a black belt, so that's going to be hard for Brian Ortega to pull off. That's going to be hard for Ortega to pull off, but he can still do it. He can still definitely beat Topuria. Maybe not in the stand-up. In the stand-up, it will be one-sided. It will be Ilia just landing bombs on Ortega and Ortega getting busted up and bruised like he did against Alexander, like he did against Max Holloway and even Yair in the first fight. Like, Brian Ortega doesn't really move his head like that and he gets damaged so easily. Like, bro, the amount of damage that he accumulated taking against Max Holloway was worrying because the doctor even had to stop that fight. And I remember watching that fight and Brian Ortega had no answer to Max's boxing. And Max is less powerful than Ilia, and Ilia does throw a lot less volume. Max is a volume puncher and Ilia is like, you know, a power puncher. They're very 2 different type of boxers and punches, you know. But even then, it's important to know that Ilia's power for featherweight especially is just out of this world. I even think for lightweight, he hits super hard, let alone featherweight. He just knocked out Volkanovski. Like, and Brian Ortega almost beat Volk, but it was really Ilia who landed that bomb in Volk in the close quarters. And Brian Ortega can definitely get caught in that close quarter punch, you know. He is taller, so it'll make it easier for Ilia to land the overhand, you know, like he did against Alex. It's going to be dangerous for Brian. So, I don't know who else he could fight. Maybe Brandon Allen or Evloev, you know, another contender, because Evloev would actually be a really good fight because he's on a win streak. That's a totally winnable fight for Brian. And I think he stops the hype chain of Evloev, me personally. But I think it will be a good fight to see. Now, again, going back to Brian going for that title shot, I'm not too sure because he's only beaten one person, which is Yair, a really, really good fighter and an elite contender at featherweight at the moment. But again, we need to see more. Maybe even Josh Emmett. I don't know. Someone of note that he can fight. And then he can say, okay, I'm coming off a 2-fight win streak. After a long layoff, I can call for a title shot. He can do that now, again, as said before, but it'll be better if he had, you know, a build-up of fighters to do that, rather than just going in straight after losing the first round to Yair and then getting a submission in the second, or the third, sorry. Which I don't blame him for doing, but again, like, I would just rather Brian Ortega do that. But nonetheless, it's still an amazing win for Brian Ortega. You know, great win. He now advances in the rankings for featherweight, surely. And it's a testament to Brian Ortega's toughness, because this is really a testament to Brian Ortega's toughness, because he really had to deal with the injury and the layoff. Even the Alexander Volkanovski beating, no one really talks about it as much, because when Brian Ortega failed that submission attempt, he was done. Like, he was lying down on the floor after that 3rd round, I believe, against Alexander Volkanovski, where he couldn't do anything. He was challenging for the title and he fell short, unfortunately. And then now he has a chance to come back after beating the former interim UFC featherweight champion. I think it's pretty cool to see Brian Ortega go from, like, someone would consider him a failed prospect. I never did, but people were saying he's kind of like a failed prospect, especially after that Max Holloway beating. And then Volkanovski also solidified this. I think it was really cool for Brian Ortega to get the W. I think he's really deserved. Like, I'm really glad. That being said, he has a tight fight against Ilia Topuria. I'm telling you, Ilia's no joke, as I said before. Like, he doesn't want to trade with Ilia. I don't think he'll get knocked out, although he can get knocked out. But I don't think he'll get put away, because he's never really been put away like that before. Other than Max Holloway and Yair. But you know what I mean? Like, he's never been stopped the way that Ilya can do, which is worrying because Ilya can just keep on accumulating the damage. And for Ilya, it will be a lot worse because Brian Ortega has a tough chin and he can take the damage, but it'll build up. Like, the concussions will build up and then he will ultimately fall. And that would not be pretty for the UFC fan to witness. I mean, a lot of you are psychopaths, so you'll love to see that. But a good person like me, a good person like myself, I don't know if I want to see Brian Ortega take that much damage again because that is CTE he's accumulating. Because, like, I don't think it's fair for Brian Ortega to absorb that much damage, like, against Ilya. And I keep on saying that because I'm worried for Brian. I don't want him to absorb as much damage as he did in them 2 fights. Because to see him come back and win against Yair, it gives me hope as a Brian Ortega fan. It's like, okay, he's back. He can do something, you know. And now people are saying he should fight Ilya next. I'm not too sure. Let Ilya rematch Volkanovski or something. I don't know. Even that's dangerous for Volkanovski. I don't think that's a good idea. But again, for Brian Ortega, if I'm him, maybe I'll take one more fight. But if you want to go straight to the title, then sure. But it's been a while out, so I don't know if you want to risk that, you know. What if he loses to the next guy? Because he can definitely lose to Evloev, even though he will beat Evloev. He can definitely lose to Brandon and Arnold Allen, sorry. He can definitely lose to Arnold Allen. He's not prone to, you know, certain things such as like the power punches and even like the ground game. As said before, Yair in the first fight. As said before, Yair Rodriguez, he almost got him in an armbar like the first time they fought before, you know, Ortega injured his shoulder. That's worrying as a Brian Ortega fan. But again, that's the past. This is now, right? That was his last loss, which was 2022, and I watched that live. That was in New York, but I watched it. And to see that happen, yeah, as a Brian Ortega fan, you guys should be worried. But again, it's not that, you know. These are things you can look past as a Brian Ortega fan. I hope that Brian Ortega can come back, you know, and win. And imagine the scenes if Brian Ortega beats Ilya Topuria. That would be crazy. He'll be the champion. Like, everyone was stating he was supposed to be the first champion to beat Max Holloway, you know, someone to beat Max Holloway, and then, like, he was supposed to be that guy to beat Max, and then he got destroyed. He put up a good fight, to be honest, but again, against the end, it was horrible for him. Now we want to see Yair. Now, to be honest, I don't know where Yair will go from here. I guess he would have to fight Josh Emmett again, maybe. They fought for the interim title once. Someone again, maybe Evloev, you know, or I don't know, go even lower down in competition. I'm not really too sure. Maybe, you know, Sadiq Youssef if he wins. Potentially, I'm not too sure where Yair will go, but he can definitely make a comeback and fight someone, you know, of note. Even a Max Holloway rematch would be cool if Max lost. If Max went back down to featherweight and he he lost to Justin Gaethje. That would be a cool fight. What do you guys think of this? I think it would be cool. Credit to Brian Ortega for winning against Yair Rodriguez in a rematch. Honestly, I was not expecting it. When I woke up to see the result, I was like, damn, Brian Ortega still has it like that. And people even doubted him, including myself. I can't lie. I didn't think Brian Ortega was going to win. But obviously, he proved us all wrong. And he's back in the mix in featherweight, which is exciting because he was undefeated against Max Holloway again, and then he lost. And then he lost to Alexander Volkanovski and beat Chang Sun-Jung, who recently retired, and came back to fight Yair twice, and then he won one of them, which is impressive. You have to give up to him. So congratulations to Brian Ortega. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.